What's up, gamers? Welcome to Articulate, the podcast where I'm anything but. Look at us absolutely freaking testing the limits of the fact that sound actually doesn't even travel that far. And low-key, I might actually just believe that now. Because, I'm in the great outdoors, gamers. Sorry if the audio is absolutely terrible. I do have a lavalier microphone I could have used, but I compared the sounds and I was like, oh, my phone sounds better. But I did not, in fact, consider the fact that it could be raining. But also, watch this, I'm about to show where I live. Hang on. Not true, but it's an overcast sky, gamers. And there was just a bit of a roof there and trees and things, so I'm not too concerned about that. But what am I saying? Look at that. That's what I was saying. I was saying that I'm fully just like being myself now actually, and there's literally a person to my right, not even that far away from me, but I'm like, sound truly doesn't even travel that far, and I think people are just gonna assume that I'm on a phone call or something. Maybe it's chill vibes though, you know? It is in fact raining, which means the audio might be horrible, but also, ow, my hair just got stuck in my umbrella. It's really, I was about to do a funny little joke and tilt the camera up to show the person driving away, and I was gonna be like, oh, look at their license plates, but then I was like, oh, they might actually see me do that with my little phone camera, and they might be concerned, or that's not even that funny of a joke anyway, so, I don't know. I mean, I got a pretty new phone. I'm just gonna have to assume that it's going to, fix the audio and things. AI and all that. No, but probably actually, which is rather unfortunate, but AI truly is just in everything, and that kind of just is how technology works now. Look at this little dog over here. Yo, that bird is crazy. I've seen several TikToks that are they don't talk about anything, but they're like, what is this damn bird? This is like pure nostalgia. This is my childhood. And it's that bird. And I was like, holy shit, dude. That's insane. Because, oh my god, I was gonna say the dog's following me. It's not. Let me just show all the houses that are near where I live, you know? What the hell am I saying? I don't know, but there's more dogs and things. It's fascinating that some dogs are just, trained well, you know? Because I feel like a lot of my life I've kind of just been around dogs that aren't that way in the slightest, and they're, annoying, and they bark a lot, and they shit everywhere, and things like that. And that's probably part of the reason why I thought I didn't really like dogs for a long time. But yeah, what the hell was I even saying? 4.5 minutes in, mayhaps I should reference the fact that I am in fact in the great outdoors, gamers, and it's significantly less interesting for you than it is for me, because I don't want to show where I live, you know, and I do in fact know that people like Rainbolt exist, so the fact that I'm even showing the road and there's all these different colored rocks. I showed the sky a little bit. I showed that dog. It's game over for me, dude. People are gonna pinpoint my exact location. Damn, it is raining. This umbrella that I have is kind of flimsy. Someone gifted it to me kind of as a joke, because it's the gayest fucking umbrella ever invented. Joke's on them, I'm actually kind of queer. But maybe I can show the umbrella without showing everything else. Look at this. It's got cats all over it. All sorts of colors. I guess that's not gay. It's actually not even as rainbow as I thought it was. Literally not even red. It's just pink and orange. And yellow. Okay. I fully thought it was rainbow colors with cats on it. Or 2 cats on it or something. But each panel has a little cat on it. And also the fact that my hair got stuck in it earlier. And it's not that long. This is fully a children's umbrella or something. And it's sort of giving me carpal tunnel. I'm gonna have a cramp in my hand at the end of this. But look at my cool boots I'm wearing. Look at that. Oh shit. You know what I just remembered? I'm supposed to be big and bombastic because the the title and thumbnail for this is going to be kind of clickbaity, because I was like, I came up with this genius idea because I have an ungodly amount of coins. It's actually, I placed them in a little baggie, and it's not even that much because I called, well, I'll get into that in a second, but I was like, I need to do something with these coins. So I was going to go to a coinstar, and I looked it up because I was like, how does a coinstar even work? Do I need to bring my social security number? I'm kidding. Why would you need to bring your social security number? But yeah, I was like, do I need to bring my birth certificate to the coinstar to get some dollars? And so I just looked it up. How does a coinstar work? And Google AI overview, which is always correct, had told me that it actually takes like a 12% fee away. And I'm like, damn, what the hell? And so I actually just went and called my bank, and they said, what the hell did they say? I'm really hoping this microphone and the software and whatnot on my phone is pretty good, because there are some cars coming up, dude. So actually I might even get run over, because I don't think there's really a sidewalk kind of over where I'm going, and there's more cars than I thought there would be. It is like midday, literally probably exactly 12 p.m. But man, I love an overcast day. It's so cool. But anyway, yeah, this coinstar, I couldn't go to the coinstar, so I called the bank. I was like, yo, would it in fact be evil if I brought you guys a bunch of coins? And they said, no, we actually just send them somewhere else, and then we'll put money in your account when this other place receives. I started slightly shouting, and then I was like, wait, I could just wait for the car to pass. They were like, we wouldn't give you money when this other place receives your coin, you know? Toss a coin to your larger bank location thing, if you will. Oh no, there's a sidewalk coming up. No, that's actually not a sidewalk. Man, this is loud as hell. Is that someone I know? No. I was fully like, was that someone that I live with? Because similar car. I just need to wait. We got 30 minutes here. I could just wait for cars to pass. Oh no, there is sidewalk coming up. Look at that. But yeah, I could wait for cars to pass instead of having my brain not work and then having to resort to like 2-word answers. I feel like I'm unreasonably not scared of cars, because like before I started driving, I fully would just walk everywhere, and I walked in some places that very much did not have a sidewalk, and I was walking in the road, almost getting run over. Epic jaywalking moments, except legally, that's a joke. And then being like, oh wait, there actually isn't enough time to cross the road here. Let me stand in the middle of the road and wait for this car to pass. And then they would honk at me, because of course they would. And then something else, I don't know. But yeah, fully someone that I might live with, because that's why I was like, oh, is that person in that car? Because it was a similar car. Look at me waiting for the cars to pass. But also, I've seen other people like vlog and shit, and so mayhaps phones are actually pretty good at not having that be insanely loud. And I'm also right here next to the microphone, so I guess speaking gets picked up, you know? So maybe it's a vibe. Maybe it's just a chill vibe next to this road here with these cars and whatnot. A little bit of rain. Okay, but also maybe you can't hear. But yeah, a little bit of rain sounds. Oh, I'm fully in a puddle right now. Yo, I almost wore my Crocs. That would have been absolutely devastating. Because from the window of our house, I looked out and I was like, oh, it's not raining too bad. There's like, looking at the puddles, there's little droplets. I guess you can see if you actually can't see. The camera isn't as good as my eyeballs. That sucks. But yeah, the little droplets, or I guess if I point it way more forward, zoom in, gamers, with your eyeballs. Lean way into your screen, or you can actually zoom. You can zoom on computer if you got a laptop, or obviously you can zoom on your phone. Unless you're watching this from a web browser on your phone. That would be weird and strange. But what the hell was I saying? I haven't been paying attention if the person that lives with me could be passing, because usually they have lunch somewhat around now. And so I'm like, oh, they could in fact appear. Look at this big ass bump here. That would be scary. Oh, that's something we could go back to. Never mind, let me continue what I was saying. So there were little teeny tiny little raindrops. And so I was like, oh, it's not even raining that hard. And things like that. So I was just gonna wear my Crocs, it was gonna be low key. And then I was like, no, Crocs have a bunch of holes in them and stuff. So I would be having wet socks. So I didn't wear the Crocs. I instead opted for my boots that are super cool. Look at these boots, dude. Mayhaps I'll walk slightly sideways. You can see them. Look at that. Nope, didn't work that well, but it's fine. You get the idea. And so yeah, cool boots because I didn't want wet socks. And I don't know, what else was I just saying? Who even knows, dude? But yo, I could be a better pedestrian. I'm coming up to this stop sign, and now that I like know how to drive, I can be like, oh, where are all these cars going? I guess I could have just been more. I could have been that before if I actually just paid attention. But now I know how to drive. I know how these cars operate and things like that, which brings me to what I was saying earlier. Like, why the hell am I so unafraid of cars? And you would think the fear would come back after, hang on. Pause for a big ass truck. And yeah, you would think the fear would come back after learning how to drive and operating a car and being like, oh, this sucks, this is horrible. And you actually can't tell what's going on in the slightest. And I look back to all those years where I was walking around everywhere and being kind of close to cars and being like, there's plenty of room here for me and the car. I can stand a little bit closer to the road. That's their problem. But like, no, they're gonna hit you and it's gonna be an accident because they can't tell what's going on in the slightest. It's truly like, and I don't know why I looked at cars like a different beast, like a living creature, and I would just sort of be like, and I sort of forget that the driver is literally only on the left side, and so they can't tell what's going on. They cannot tell what's going on the right at all. They've only got weird, like, dinky little mirrors. Mayhaps cameras if they're rich. Shout out rich people. To tell what's going on. And even then, low key, a lot of it's intuition. Like, sorry I hit you, bro. I'm just guessing here. Like, how far out does the car go? I don't know. Because there's many times where I'm driving my mom around, and she obviously has been driving for many years, and so she, like, understands things. And I guess also I'm driving her car, so she understands her car, but I'll be parking, like, pulling in, going forward, and I'm like, okay, we've parked, we're in the spot, which is in fact true, but she's always telling me to pull up a little bit more. She's like, go up a little bit more. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to hit the car in front of me, or like the post or wall or whatever's there? Because truly, I'm just like, there's no room here. Like, I'm right in front of it, dude. I'm gonna hit this. And then you keep going forward, and it's like, holy shit. I guess, who would have guessed the hood of a car where the engine is actually pretty big, you know? I can't believe this is 18 minutes long. 19 minutes at this point. Because, like, the last episode was 24 minutes long. And it was unedited. Whoa, that's a weird truck that just passed. Crazy fucking suspension on that thing. And, what am I saying? Yeah, the last episode was... Hang on, let me wait until the loudest fucking vehicles that have passed me so far have passed me before I start talking. I guess not counting that big ass truck. It was like a semi, you know? Dude, this umbrella actually sucks and my fingers hurt. It's so small and flimsy, dude. I guess this is my fault, because right at the beginning I was holding it not by the actual, like, handle technically, because I was like, it's moving around so much, but I don't really care at this point. I'm holding it by the handle because it's significantly bigger, but it's not big enough. I need this handle to be massive, and it's not long enough of a handle, so it's truly kind of just miserable. So yeah, last episode, 24 freaking minutes long. I was yapping, pacing around my room back and forth. And if you asked me then, I would have been like, oh yeah, I went back and forth between my room many times, 30, mayhaps 40 times back and forth. And probably more than that. Don't go back and count. That would be weird. But, what the hell am I saying? Yeah, don't do that. Instead, I might just cross here, because I think I'm taking a right. Never mind. Actually, I'm going to keep going for a while. I thought I was significantly closer to my destination than I am, but I'm not. Yeah, I paced around my room so much, and it was 24 minutes long. We haven't reached 24 minutes yet, and I'm so far away, dude. This is crazy. I need to be, like, going places more, you know? I was a little bit paranoid because I was like, people are gonna... I didn't, like, tell anyone I was leaving. So someone might be like, oh, where's Juncture? You know? And whatnot. They may be worried. Guess I could have just told someone at all. But I'll probably be gone. And I'll be back by the time they are back from doing whatever. Well, there's this cute little frog thing here. Could have shown it, but I didn't. What was I saying? Just moves the camera so close to my face because I was pushing up my glasses. Actually, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm so far away. Stuff and things. I could talk about where I'm going. I'm going to the bank because I did in fact call them that one time. And they were like, yeah, bring in your coins. And I don't know if it's even that worth it to bring them in. I didn't even count them to see exactly how many there were. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot. There's a bunch of balloons on the floor there. You actually caught a glimpse of it slightly. People are going to find out where I live. Look at this sidewalk. This is a distinct sidewalk. And by that I mean it's completely disappearing. Which I guess isn't that distinct. There's places all over America that look like that. People know I live in America. And I need to keep remembering this, but by the time anyone cares, I feel like people are going to know where I live, you know? I'm just going to announce it at some point, right? Or people are going to figure out or something, because I'm going to be so rich and famous that it's going to be absurd. Oh, I was like, I should be on the other side. It actually has a sidewalk. And I guess I'm kind of just in a parking lot, question mark. This is a business. And I'm just talking anyway, even though these cars are so loud. It's midday, dude. There's no chance that there's going to be no cars and that the podcast episode is going to be long enough to warrant some clicking on it or whatever. I'm just going to cross here. I feel bad. That's one thing I don't know about is when do pedestrians basically always have the right of way, right? Which makes sense, that checks out. But I don't know any of the actual rules of driving. It's kind of a problem. But you know what? I can get from point A to point B without killing anyone most of the time, so that's good. I feel like there were more things I was supposed to say according to the bank and things. Hang on, watch this. I'm actually going to completely switch topics to something else entirely. Because what do you mean a random Twitch VOD? One of the boring ones, mind you. Has randomly just become one of my most popular videos. Fully 600 views, which is almost 3x my most popular video. That, of course, I spent weeks editing. What am I saying? My hair's doing weird shit right now. Of course, I spent weeks editing my previous most popular video. What is this? The biggest puddle I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm actually gonna walk around it. I'm sprinting across the road right now. What is happening? I've never run in these boots. This is kind of scary. Oh, that person was turning, and also they were kind of far away. So I actually didn't even need to run. Just a light jog. I can climb this wall right here. Okay, people are actually going to know where I live if I show that wall, so I'm going to cut it out. But it's got lots of weird rocks on it and shit. Strange wall, but yeah. I'm surprised I'm able to record this long on my phone because why? Because I got a lot of shit on my phone. I didn't think I had this much room. I guess 27 minutes is a massive file, but maybe I clear up more things than I remember, and I forgot to clear my trash, which means if I do max out the video size, we could have had a couple more minutes, which is depressing. Hang on, you're gonna get a crazy angle / absolute void, or just a cut, I guess. Wait. Not a crosswalk, by the way. I sure hope no one hits me, honestly. Because, like, when I'm driving, I'm only looking at the other vehicles and lights and signs and things. I'm never looking at a pedestrian. Sorry to the person who I will hit in the future / the person that I have hit already, depending on when you watch this. But yeah, now that I know that pedestrians are often invisible, I can check, make sure cars don't hit me and things. And it also means I'm not as offended about a few years ago when, maybe more than a few years ago. Would you look at that? I'm old and ancient. But this lady, I was at a crosswalk going across the road. The sign changed from the little stop hand to the little guy. That means you need to start walking. And so I started walking. I took a step forward, and then the car directly in front of me started moving as well. It was like a van, and she fully, like, almost moitered me, which actually isn't true. She didn't even come close. But there was in fact a lady in a van that started moving when she shouldn't have, because she didn't see me, because I was invisible, you know? And I guess granted she was a little bit further ahead. Like, you're supposed to stop behind the white line. Like here, there's a white line here. You're supposed to stop there behind that white line because there's a stop sign here. So she stopped, and then she was turning right as well. So I guess she sort of went forward a little bit to wait for cars to go away, because in America and maybe other places I don't remember, you can in fact turn right on a red light. And this is all unnecessary information. Basically, this lady almost hit me with her car, and fully, actually, I don't know why I'm saying she almost hit me with her car, because she was fully stopped, and I was like next to her car, and basically she was going, and it was unexpected for me. And maybe that actually makes sense. I don't know. I actually don't remember enough to be like, oh, was she in the wrong? Was she not? I don't know. So that happened. I'm less offended because now I understand, gamer. I feel you, bro. I might have passed where I was supposed to turn, but that's okay because I'm not paying attention right now. May have to pause the video. Maybe, no, actually. No, wait, never mind. I fully did. I think I'm just like in a neighborhood right now. I'm gonna pause and see where the hell I am. What's up, gamers? We got a crazy angle going here. decided to walk slightly through the neighborhood that I'm randomly in to get away from the rushing cars, the cars that are rushing by, you know? And there's my little umbrella thing. Look at that handle. It's teeny tiny. But weird angle because... watch this, gamers. Hang on. This is strange. This is weird. And it's awkward because I had to wear gloves and this was like deep in my pocket. But coin bag reveal. Look at this, dude. Look at all these coins I got here. You can't really... Okay? Look at all those damn coins. Kind of insane. It looks like a lot on camera, but... I don't know, in real life I wasn't expecting that much. Mayhaps because when I called the bank, they were, in fact... They were like, how much is it? Is a lot? Is it like a big-ass jar of coins? And I was like, mayhaps a small jar, because I had opened my little piggy bank thing, and I was like, oh shit, I actually don't even have that many coins. Maybe I don't even go to the bank and give them my coins, because like, is it even worth it? You know, that 30-minute walk there, 30-minute walk back. And then I was like, I must do this. I simply must, because of the, what am I saying? Because of the video, gamers. Because it has to be cool, it has to be entertaining. And I can't not upload a video called Going to the Coinstar to Become Rich and Famous. As you know, because you've been clickbaited by this one, because I'm actually just going to the bank. Because it's such a funny title and thumbnail. Is it not? My glove has been in front of the camera this whole time, but that's perfectly fine. Just a little bit, you know? That's part of the vibe. We got the rain, we got the POV walking and the big engine in the background. And then we got me being an idiot, as always, I guess. And then also my little glove in the background. And my coins are making a little bit of noise now because I put them in my sweater pocket or hoodie or whatever I'm wearing. Look at my cool Avatar hoodie, you know? And so they're kind of jostling around in there, kind of hitting me in the nuts a little bit every once in a while. If I take a big step, then that happens. So a little bit unfortunate for me. But yes, we're going through this neighborhood. Does that in fact mean that I can't, I was gonna say can't see? No, it means I don't know where I'm going, necessarily. I get the general idea, but I might pass where I'm supposed to be going because that's what I did a little bit ago. And now this is like 2 videos that I gotta edit into one, which I guess is just how that works for a lot of people. Which is interesting because like, I'll never understand people who like make vlogs and stuff because I don't do that. I make stupid little gaming videos. I'm like adjacent to the road I'm supposed to be on, but I think this gets me where I want to be anyway. Mayhaps. I don't know. Might have to check again, but let me finish what I'm saying first. And then if we go the wrong way, we can just walk in a little circle, you know? I got many things I have to say, so we got plenty of time and I gotta walk back anyway. And I meant to talk about a bunch of other stuff that actually has to do with the title and thumbnail, but I will in a second. But I actually don't know what I was trying to get back to. I was yapping, going somewhere potentially. I'm at the library, which means I'm pretty sure I'm very far off. So that's perfectly fine by me. I was talking about vloggers, because for them, editing is like taking a bunch of different clips and putting them together. And maybe cutting them a little bit, probably more than a little bit, but like, you know, they're making vlogs, and I usually just have a big ass recording that I have to cut away from and add horrible cursed jokes to. But if I ever did a little vlog, that would be strange, and I think technically this is similar to that. Well, there's so much rain here, it's absurd. I am wearing boots though, But let's walk in the mud, because that's a better idea, right? I don't know if all this looks not familiar because I'm like so far off that I'm just somewhere else, or if it's because I actually just have to keep going for a while. I'm pretty sure it's not the latter, which means, unless, hang on. It's truly interesting that I actually have no clue where I'm going in the slightest. Wait, never mind. I'm just gonna go this way because I can, and I suspect it'll give me a little bit more insight into where the hell I am. Because as I said, this like is a main road that I'm adjacent to, but I was like, hey, let's, for the sake of audio, walk over here instead through this neighborhood. See, I'm becoming rich and famous by going to the coinstar. Which isn't clickbait, I know it seems like it, but I will in fact become rich because obviously I'm turning all my coins into cash. And I will in fact become famous because of the thumbnail. You know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Thumbnail and title. It's going to be so funny. And even though this is probably going up on the stupid little, what's it called? The podcast channel? I might do both. How does that work? Because I've been seeing videos, and this has been a thing for a while, I guess, by now, but people upload videos that are like a collab, kind of. It'll be like, oh, murdering someone with my bare hands. Thanks. That was awkward. I did not realize that would be recorded, because I just said thanks. And then I was like, oh, that was a weird tone of voice. That's one thing about me. I've actually somehow, the way I speak when I'm being a YouTuber is significantly different from any other way that I speak. Maybe not significantly. Obviously, the way that I speak, and I'm doing the cringy YouTuber voice all the time, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not myself that much around people in real life, actually. So maybe you gamers are getting a closer look at me than anyone else, which is probably true. I'm yapping on Twitch constantly, which means it's possible to know more about me than I know about myself, because I don't remember all the stupid shit I say on that website. Going through some low trees here, kind of scary. My phone's slightly wet now. I think it might have just been that way, you know. The occasional horizontal. Hang on, let me not move the phone away from my face. I'm not supposed to be speaking. But yeah, the occasional horizontal water drop. Shit's kind of crazy. I actually don't know where I am in the slightest. Holy shit, guys. I accidentally made it. And like, oops. That was some crazy timing though, like, oops. Like I was looking, not even ahead, I was looking at the buildings around and I was like, literally, where am I? And, well, I'm actually gonna walk past where I'm trying to go because I'm still talking. But yeah, I was literally like, where the hell am I? And then I looked up and there it is, dude. The quote-unquote coinstar, which is actually just my bank. Fade in funny joke here, editing me. But yeah, I will in fact be back in a jiffy. I will not be recording conversations that I'm having with strangers, because that would be interesting of me. It was kind of crazy that I just stumbled into the bank, because I was like, actually, where am I going? I was so confused. I did not know where anything was, which is another thing, like when I'm driving. The second I turn around, I'm actually in an entirely new place. So when you're going the opposite direction, because everything's flipped, you're like seeing different locations depending on what's closer to you, and signs are rotated different ways. So you're just objectively, your eyes are drawn to different things now that you're going a different direction. And that's super interesting. That's super cool. But also, I don't even know where I'm going. Well, I do know where I'm going, but I'm there already. So I need to say what I was going to say and then shut the hell up, you know? Well, I'm going to go over here because there was actually a little... No, I'm going to go to the other side. There's a little respite here, you know? A roof. So that my umbrella can dry off a little bit, so I'm not bringing a sopping wet umbrella into the bank. And audio will probably be better, I'm assuming. Okay, let's freaking go, you guys. I'm just gonna hold my umbrella. It's actually really uncomfortable and weird. I'll put it on my shoulder like cool people do. Except it doesn't have like a little hook thing. Oh, but literally I can do that and it gives me a little rest for my hands and fingers. This might require more editing than I thought, but also, oh yeah, I'm not gonna record the random little conversation with a stranger in the key bank, but I will in fact be back in a jiffy. It is gonna be very awkward, significantly more so even than that person who was like, hey, I like your umbrella, and I had to turn around as well and say thank you, which sounded like me being annoying towards them, but it was actually just me. Why are there so many cars here now? Guess these are all my fans. What am I saying though? Who even knows? Hang on, I've just thought of something cool I can say in a second after I come back. But yeah, I'm gonna go have an awkward conversation. Give them so many coins. Mayhaps many things will go wrong. Who knows yet, even. Okay, so catch you on the flip side, gamers, which is literally one frame ahead of this for you. Goodbye now. What's up, gamers? Hang on, let me not cover the microphone for a second. I did in fact do the thing. Nothing went wrong, and it actually was different than I thought it would be, because when I called them, they were like, oh, I already said this in the pod. They said that they would send it off away to someplace far, far away, and then after maybe like a week, they would, it would get deposited and whatnot. Hey, I actually like this place. Fun little, what is it called? Thrift store that I'm just going by. So yeah, epic stuff and things. Did in fact pass someone just now, and it was a little bit slightly horrifying. But I think that's kind of just, you know, they got their stuff going on. This is in fact a main street, if you will, which isn't really good to be telling the rain bolts of the world, but come find me, dude. Literally come find me. But yeah, nothing went wrong in terms of the objective, the quest, if you will. But everything went wrong in terms of something? I don't know. What am I saying? Actually, what am I saying? Because I'm kind of a little bit saying, yeah, nothing actually went wrong, but it went awry, socially speaking, which I suppose is sort of mayhaps a given, considering the fact that I'm very socially inept. You know, I went and I was like, I have a bunch of coins here to deposit. And I'm going to be recounting this like I am even a little bit not socially inept. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. It was more awkward and weird due to me than it would seem. Because I was like, hang on, what am I saying? Yes. I was like, here are coins. And the lady was like, is it in rolls? Or mayhaps it's just in a bag of sorts. And I was like, yep, just in a little Ziploc baggie here. And I gave her the bag and she was like, dang it. And as I said, I was under the impression they were going to send it to somewhere far, far away, and that I was going to hear back in a week about how rich I am, you know? But the lady was like, you know what, we're actually not too busy. And she poured all the coins on the counter, pulled out this device, and she started placing the coins in the device. And mayhaps you've seen this device before if you're like an adult, but I've only seen it recently, weirdly not that long ago, in a YouTube short. This guy was like, yo, can I pay with coins? And he was paying literally with pennies. He had a can of pennies, which I'm not saying that's funny and haha joke because he had a can of pennies. But I think because some people may in fact have a can of pennies, and that's their life savings right there, you know. But I think it was like a silly little TikTok, and it was slightly bizarre, and there were people behind him like swearing at him and yelling at him. It was pretty funny, okay? It was for comedic purposes, I think, I'm pretty sure. And if not, it was a bit of a, I almost said jovial situation. My vocabulary, the words in my vocabulary, and what's that other word that people use? Not lexicon. Hang on. There's a specific word. People are like, I'm going to add that to my... And then they say something that isn't the word vocabulary. It's something else. It's a different word. I think it's... I don't know. But my collection of words and things come to me at the weirdest times. Because truly, most of the time, I'm just saying, what's up, gamers? And saying the word like too many times. And just being an idiot generally. And that's usually what's going on. But occasionally, I will, in fact, pull out a word that like has meaning. And it's a bit more unique, uncommon. Things like that. Like, why was I gonna say jovial? I meant, I almost said improvical, which isn't a word. But what's the thing I'm thinking of? There's a word, I feel like Smosh say it a lot for some reason. But something, it just like is comedic. It like is something that would be in a comedy, you know? In a movie, perhaps a show. I don't remember the word I'm thinking of. This is what I mean. Like, why was I able to think of the word jovial, but not the word that I'm trying to think of right now? Very interesting. So yeah, we're on our way back. I was gonna say significantly richer than I was, but I guess I already had the coins. I already had the extra little dollars that I put in to my account. But now I can continue to purchase things. Fortnite won't get mad at me next month when they take my money again, because I'm going to continue paying for Fortnite Crew. Because I'm an idiot, and I'm like, oh, it's... Why not, dude? You know? It exists. Lots of people pay for it, I'm sure. The sidewalk's disappearing randomly for some reason. I I understand why it's disappearing. It makes sense now. But what am I saying? Yeah, Fortnite crew. I need to get over the fact that it isn't cringe necessarily, or it is cringe, but that's okay. I'm cringe and I am free, and I need to consider all the different facets of being cringe, all the different aspects that it can take, because yeah, I'm like weird and alternative, I guess, which is quote unquote cringe sometimes, but also Fortnite is like not good and cringe and things like that. And I'm going to be giving them money every month for the foreseeable future, question mark? I don't know. If I actually get a job, then I will be doing that. That's why I wanted to go to the coinstar, because I was like, shit, I spent all my money on, at least all the money I had on that account, on the debit card, which is usually what I buy fun little things for, or with. I spent all that cash that I had on an album. And so I was like, shit, now I need to, and I'm not going the wrong way at this point, but I could, oh hey, I think that's the house of someone I know. That means I know where I'm at. What am I saying? Yeah, the freaking, I don't know why I thought this would be an hour little trip, because I don't walk that fast in general, and then I need to be coming back. Forgot the transaction was going to take a while, which I need to continue talking about. I was supposed to tell the actual story of what happened, but let me finish this tangent first. Just tangents within tangents with me. So yeah, I spent it on a legendary little album that, who knows, maybe coming here soon-ish. Probably not. Well, relatively. No, that's not true, actually. Because I was thinking of the shipping, how long the shipping takes, and it's like a couple weeks. And then I was like, oh, wait, I think they were made to order, potentially. Which means they're not, the albums don't exist yet, necessarily. I guess the album exists, like what's going to be going into my ear holes. That exists, but maybe the CD that I'm going to be owning doesn't exist yet. So they need to like make it and package it and ship it to me and whatnot. This is unimportant. I spent all my money on that, so I was like, I have lots of coins. That might add up to something. And it was $16, gamers. So huge win for me. $16 extra in my little bank account. So yes, back to the scenario, the situation, the thing that happened at the bank that mayhap shouldn't have, that I made more awkward, kind of. But yeah, she pulls out this device, and I'm realizing now that that's all I said about it. But it's that little like plastic thing with like a bunch of ridges in it that you jam a bunch of coins in. And technically speaking, since coins are like manufactured and we know the exact size of like quarters and pennies and nickels and all that, you can jam all your coins in there and know the exact amount of coins that it is. So she pulls out that device and she dumps out my little baggie of coins that I showed earlier. Editor me, fade that in here. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm like, it's just future me. I'm gonna understand the joke. I'm gonna remember to do that. That just makes sense. That's an edit that makes sense to do. Every time I say I'm not gonna be like, editor me, cut that out. Editor me, this is boring, cut this out later. Because it just makes sense, you know? Yeah, she pulls out the device, which is that like plastic thing with all the ridges and stuff in it. She starts putting the coins in. She starts organizing them. And granted, she's fast as hell, so shout out to her. And as I said before, I'm completely socially inept, and so that's not the greatest for me, because I felt the need to just sort of stand there, and I never even said sorry. That's actually depressing. I should have said sorry because it was a lot more coins than I thought it was. As I said, it was $16 worth of coins. So, sorry for her. I do also have 4 quarters in my wallet still, because I always keep 4 quarters on me because in case I want to purchase like a little bouncy ball or something, you know, in those little machines that you put quarters in. Mayhaps a vending machine. Do vending machines still take quarters? Am I old? Like, a lot of them take cards now, which is weird that vending machines even still exist, kinda. But I use them every now and then, so I imagine there's going to be somewhat of a profit to be made, you know? And I guess if vending machines already exist, then like just slap a card reader on there and you're good for the new age, bro. It's not new. Cards have existed for a while, but I just mean people don't really use cash anymore. I just got rid of basically all the coins that I own, except for there's also, is this a main road with no sidewalk? Because I should have gone the other way, if that is in fact the case. Dude, that's actually depressing. Do I turn around? No, I'm not afraid of cars, as I said earlier. I'm not going to get hit. I could, though. I very well could. Technically, you can walk anywhere, dude. I'm pretty sure. And if you couldn't, they should have put a sign or something. Because I'm about to get ran over. I mean, hopefully not. Oh, there's a sidewalk on the other side. I should go to the other side there. But I'm not going to. Oh, no, there's a sidewalk up ahead. I'm like kind of in the road though. So I should continue going. May have to balance on this little... Yeah, I'm going to step onto this thing right here. What was I saying though? Alright, we made it back to sidewalk. That's good for me. But also back to big loud cars, so that's less good for me. Is that? Oh, I thought I was seeing the truck of someone I know. Someone that I mayhaps live with. And then I remembered, I'm pretty sure they were still at home, which means their truck would also be there. Unless I left and came back. I guess when you're driving, it's not... Stuff is significantly quicker. Because literally, I always got to double check and triple check everything. Like when I'm making a recipe, I'm like, how much salt goes into this? And then I fuck it up every time. But yeah, I was like, do I actually remember how to get to where I'm supposed to be going? Turns out I kind of didn't. What? Turns out I kind of didn't. I'll learn how to enunciate someday, gamers. There's a nice little bench here. Why is this bench here? I think I'm going to keep going this way. My umbrella is like in the way right now, which definitely didn't pick up on Mike, but I just said I'm such an asshole because I'm not being a pedestrian properly and I can't fucking see anything because I got this big ass umbrella. Okay, it's not even raining that much anymore. But also I'm recording on my phone and I don't want my phone to be exposed to that much water. Just look down at the screen, there's actually so much water on it anyway, so that's cool. Yeah, epic gamer moments, as one might say. What am I saying? I'm always saying random little things that I'm like, oh, this is just a little side note or whatever. And then it ends up being the only thing that I can remember and I can never get back to what I'm supposed to actually be talking about. Because I'm like, what was I just saying? I remember me being like, oh, I was an asshole. I remember that little bench. I remember nothing else that I'm supposed to remember. But... that's fine, and we're actually almost to my humble abode. I shouldn't be saying that because it's not my house, really. I've been saying that I'm gonna not be such a... I'm not gonna like hide the fact that I'm a degenerate loser. And then this whole podcast, I've like been redacting names and things, but I fully live in my mom's basement, like literally, not even a joke here. Usually it is, but this time it's not. Yeah, mother's basement. And why the fuck was I saying this? I was gonna say oh yeah. I called it my humble abode, even though I don't pay for it in the slightest. There have been times, a few times, where I have paid the electric bill or other stuff probably. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember because, holy shit, going back to another topic earlier. Let's freaking go. I'm going to finish every single thing I was talking about, which definitely isn't true, but yes. What the fuck was I saying? I don't care about money that much. And so I'm like, if my mom is like, yo, can I borrow all the money you own? I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure. No, I'm kidding. I don't think she ever borrows all of it, but she's like, she won't. Okay, big ass truck. I'm not afraid though, because it was so far away from me. Not for them, probably. They were probably horrified to hit me. Except maybe not a truck driver. Because truck drivers be driving, you know? And they're always speeding, they're always doing weird shit. And people who drive poorly are really annoying. And not poorly, but like, bro, why are you speeding? Why are you almost hitting me? If you enjoy breaking the law that much, you can pass me in the right lane, which is weird and I don't think you're supposed to do. You know? But like, I will... And granted, I'm not one of those people who are like constantly staying in the left lane and going super slowly, but like, I will go the speed limit in the left lane. And if someone is like being Speedy Gonzalez behind me and they're trying to kill me with their car and they're like right up on me, then I will start speeding a little bit, which maybe is bad to say on the internet, but you can speed a little bit, even if, like, you didn't hear from me, gamers, but I've heard that most cops will let you go until you're going like 7 miles above the speed limit or something. So like, I'll speed by at least 5 miles or something if someone's trying to kill me. Even then, if they're not like staying a safe distance, I'm like, bro, pass me in the right lane. Stay back there. I try to help people out when I'm driving. If someone is barreling down the highway, oh my god, a little crow or raven or something. Man, birds are so cool, dude. Love crows. They're awesome. Shout out crows. And what am I saying? I was like, why are there flags here? I'm not gonna take one of these flags. And then I was like, oh, I'm passing a school right now, which is still too much to be saying. Maybe, I don't know. Is this confusing enough to look at? I was looking at the camera a little bit at the very beginning, and then I completely stopped doing that. And now I'm just here, you know? I just exist now. And I'm just sort of yapping. It actually is a podcast now. And so, epic gamer moments. Hang on, what am I saying? Yeah, I try to help people out. If they're barreling down the highway, I will get out of their way. I will get into the right lane. If I'm not already in the right lane. Because usually I stay in the right lane. Well, that's not true. I'll stay in the right lane until I have to pass someone, and then I'll just stay in the left lane until I have to pass someone, or not until someone is like about to kill me, because usually I'm just there, and I'm like, we're already here in the left lane, and if there's no one barreling down the highway trying to kill me, then the more likely option is that I'm gonna have to pass someone in the right lane anyway. So I'll just stay in the left lane until that happens, you know? So on the highway, I'm in the right lane until I have to pass someone, and then I'm in the left lane until someone is barreling down the highway behind me. Except sometimes they're barreling down the highway just in the right lane anyway, And so I'm like, I guess I'll just stay here and they'll pass me on the right. And I need to like check that again. I don't remember if you're like not supposed to do that or if it's like, is it one of those rules that they're just sort of like, yeah, probably don't do that, but sure, go ahead if you have to, if you want. Or is it something that's like actually illegal and a police officer is going to come shoot you if you do that type shit? So yeah, let's go back to a few minutes ago for me, maybe less time ago for you. I don't care about money, which is why I'm giving Fortnite all my cash, because if I do in fact get a job soon, which I would like that to happen, I think that would be really cool, but I have applied to many places and most of them have not responded, and the ones that have been like, actually, no. Actually, we need workers and no one lives here, and we pay people who work for us and things like that, and we do need this position to be filled, but you, a perfectly capable young person who's willing to do this work for us and will give you money, we're not looking for that. We're actually looking for someone who is overqualified. I don't know. It's hard to tell when you have such little experience and you're on paper the worst candidate, even though I'm the best candidate, and that's partly because I'm a narcissist and I'm just telling you that, partly because it's true. It's hard to tell when that is, in fact, your little situation and case and whatnot, because I'm like, is this that thing where jobs actually don't exist anymore and companies are like constantly putting up jobs for some sort of tax benefit? I don't remember why, but yeah, every job is fake so that was a pretty damn loud car, but yeah, every job is fake so that companies can say that they're hiring for some sort of tax break or something. I don't remember why they do that. But is this the case where every job is fake and so I'm applying to things that are never going to say yes to me? Or is it just that on paper I'm the worst candidate and so they're obviously like, no? And also, I don't know what the process is exactly for parsing that stuff out. This is actually a real podcast, which is kind of crazy. Who knows? Maybe this is going to be super unedited. It totally could, actually. I was going to edit it because I was like, oh, if it's such a clickbait thumbnail and title, I don't want people to click on it and then click off within like 2 seconds because it sucks. So I should probably edit it. But then I was like, maybe I don't do that just now because it seems semi-interesting enough anyway. Low-key out of breath slightly. Shit, dude. They're coming for me. They heard me say that I speed slightly. Oh no, that was an ambulance. Okay. Who would have guessed walking and yapping for an hour is actually, you kind of get a little bit out of breath after a second. But lately I've kind of always been sounding like I'm out of breath for some reason. I'll just be yapping randomly and then I inhale quite aggressively and it actually picks up on my Epic Gamer mic somehow, even though I've put so many filters on it to where sometimes when I'm speaking it doesn't get picked up, which is very annoying. Like, why is the breathing picking up? I guess because I'm sitting here going like, you know, trying to think, I don't know, do stuff. Yeah, what was I saying? Talking about jobs, talking about some other thing. Honestly, I don't remember. I'm trying to low-key walk on the road here because the first few steps, I'm on the world's emptiest road. I don't know why I didn't just wait for that truck to pass. I kind of did after a second, but only after it almost hit me. And so, I don't know, I figured this should be edited. I'm low-key almost to my humble abode. And I already said I shouldn't call it that, but it's too late now. And it's game over for me because all the freaking rain bolts of the world are going to be like, oh, this is exactly where Juncture lives, if you were curious. I'm on the wrong side of the road. This truck's going to kill me right now. That's not true. Trucks can move over ever so slightly and it's pretty easy. So I'm not going to cross the entire road because that's weird and confusing for them as well, I think. I'm going to just go a little bit slightly more to the left so they don't know. So they don't try to run me over or whatever. I'm actually kind of out of breath, but I was saying, I don't actually know what I was saying, but I'm just going to pick up from some other thing that I thought was kind of cool. This one's going to be a legit podcast, at least it could. No, but even editing, because it's going to be like an hour-ish. Damn it, I almost do want to not edit this because the vibes, gamers. Oh, a cat. Like, listen to this rain, dude. Probably not that cool or interesting. I don't know why I did that, but the vibes. And you get me breathing very hard. And I think I'm gonna not edit this because that sucks that I just messed up what I was trying to say after I said that. But I'm breathing hard. That's cool. At least at this point, I'm breathing hard. And here, let me wave at these animals. I always wave at animals because why not? Respect them, bro. Say hi to them as well. They never wave back, unfortunately, but I'm just saying, like, I see you. Shout out cat and dog. It does have to be slightly edited, I just realized, because there were a couple jokes that I was like, oh, editing me do this. And also, I guess it always had to be that way because I have to put it all together and things like that. And also, something else. What am I saying? I don't know, but I'll say it in a second. Hang on, I'm gonna enter my house. I'm gonna be in my room in 3, 2, 1. Watch this transition. There's not gonna be a transition. I'm not gonna like jump like a YouTuber or do some weird thing. I could like cover the camera. Watch this. I've made it, gamers, and more than a couple minutes later, or whatever I might have said before, because I appeared here at the exact same time my mother appeared for lunch or whatever. And then she was like, oh, you wanna, I don't remember what she said. Yapped at her for a bit. She was like, consume sustenance, because this isn't a symptom of ADHD or anything, but most of the time I'm like, oh wait, I have to like eat food or something, which is a little bit annoying, but yes, I haven't eaten it yet. There it is, leftover hamburger helper and water, which mayhaps is constructing a narrative that I'm not trying to construct, because like I know I've been saying that I'm a degenerate loser, like actually, but I didn't expect it to actually very much be true. And there's a lot of stuff that comes with being a degenerate loser, and not all of it might be true. Maybe people are going to assume stuff that's bad about me, but I'm not wearing the gloves anymore, gamers. I can in fact do this because my hoodie's big enough, there's my hand there. But yeah, here we're back in the room. This is classic. Look at this. There's my guitar, my microphone. There's shit, I don't remember what that owl's name is. Is it Henry? I don't remember. Look at all my trinkets, dude. So cool and awesome. And I used to be afraid to show my entire room and just be like, oh, look at all this stuff. But I honestly don't care anymore. Most of the time, it's not bad unless you count that one time where this Christmas stocking that's right here was unfolded and it has a letter on it that corresponds to my name. So I was like, oh, I need to censor that. That's not a good idea. I don't know why that Christmas stocking is still there. I should like put that away somewhere. Look at this umbrella. That actually isn't always here, and it actually hasn't been. It was like upstairs somewhere for a while. And look at this. I told you I live in a basement, gamers. Look at that. One of those window things. The ground isn't until up there, dude. Low-key, gamers, I live underground, which never mind. I already said I live in a basement, so I guess that's sort of a given, mayhaps. I'm just doing this right now with my hoodie, just sort of clenching at it, messing around with it, which isn't a symptom of anything. But yes, Shout out everyone who clicked on this video because it looked and sounded interesting and didn't click away despite it being boring and not good. You know? Because now that I've taken a few minutes to warm up hamburger helper in the microwave and fill up my cup of water and go pee and whatnot, I have written down some thoughts. I've collected my thoughts here, and I don't exactly remember what I was talking about, but I'm pretty sure it was giving Epic Games, aka Fortnite, all of my money every single month. Because, what the fuck? I just like kicked my boot slightly, but like they got little buckles on them. Let me show you my boots up close because they're sick as hell, dude. Look at these things. Dr. Martens, and I do acknowledge that my knee popped directly into the microphone, so that's probably insane. And they've got these cool buckles on them. Shit. Look at this, dude. So I've kept the shoes tied a little bit lower than they're maybe supposed to, because there's extra little loops up here. But I don't know. But I've tied the shoes here. And I never have to tie my shoes again, dude. I'm like a toddler. Look at this. Look how much articulation I got with this. These buckles, you just buckle the thing. I'm in fact like a toddler. It's like Velcro, but for adults. You know? Even though I did just say I'm a toddler. So, it's like Velcro shoes for big kids. I'm a big kid now. I'm not actually an adult, but yes. And I know I just said I've collected my thoughts, but that was a lie. Yes, giving Fortnite all my money, because if I do in fact obtain a job, which is where that little job tangent came from earlier, if I do in fact do that, I will be making money. You know, I will have money in my bank account every month to give away to Fortnite, to Epic Games. And also I was talking about earlier, I need to get over the cringe factor because I play it constantly, which is rather unfortunate. But I've said many times on the internet, it's mostly because it's good to play in the background, to have podcasts and things and whatnot. Fortnite just is the default video game. I don't think I should be saying that. It's not the default video game, but it's it almost isn't a video game in the sense that other video games are for me, because I am just mostly playing it in the background to listen to music and podcasts and whatnot. So I can listen to Bad Bunny, you know? And Joe. I've been listening to that album nonstop recently. The Crux Deluxe, because I don't even know why, because it's a little bit further in my little playlist. It's a bit further down, kind of buried by Bad Bunny and other albums. But I guess I didn't listen to it too much when I first started listening to it, not when it first came out, because I was a little bit late. But yeah, I did start listening to it, and then I couldn't stop, you know, recently. And so I've been listening to that. Very cool, very fun, very awesome. And this isn't fun at all. Sorry, everyone who clicked on this video and stayed until now, because it hasn't gotten fun at all throughout the entire thing. So you're kind of just here listening to me say words. But maybe you like that. Maybe that's the point. And we don't get the ambiance of the rain or the big loud cars that I'm really hoping aren't as insanely loud as it seemed like they were. Who knows? Maybe this video is actually unwatchable until now. But yes, if I obtain a job, that basically means infinite money, you know? Job equals infinite money. Which is very cool for me. Which probably isn't true, and I probably won't be stayed subscribed to Fortnite Crew for that much longer. Especially since a month is actually a lot longer than I think it is a lot of the time. So yeah, I'll be doing that, and I can get whatever cosmetic I damn well please, you know? I mean, not really, because Fortnite Crew doesn't mean infinite V-Bucks, but it gives you all the passes for free. It gives you 1,000 V-Bucks. Pretty cool. I don't know why I'm advertising Fortnite Crew, because did I ever say that that's what it was for? It was for Fortnite Crew? There just is. I don't think I ever said that. I think I just assumed. Like I'm giving Epic Games money every month. You know, that's like, it's a subscription thing. Who knows? But yes, infinite money. And also there's the fact that I don't really care about money because I'm going to be rich and famous anyway. Which is such a bizarre mindset to have. I acknowledge that at this point in time, unless this video gets 0 views and you're going back through the archives and you know who I am and things like that, or you've heard of me or something, I don't know. And the truth is, I'm not being insanely genuine when I say I'm going to be rich and famous, and I don't know the amplitude of it. What am I saying? I don't know how rich and famous I'm going to be. You know? I'm assuming I'm going to be able to make some money off of it. You know, one day, doing YouTube is going to pay for my Fortnite Crew. And then I can just have a job and spend my actual money that I make there doing other stuff. But probably won't happen for a very, very long time. Although, who knows? Maybe uploading Twitch VODs that have slightly interesting titles that gets me 600 something views randomly is gonna get me the audience that I'm not looking for, actually, because it doesn't matter. What am I saying? I'm gonna be rich and famous, which I very much acknowledge is the most narcissistic thing that I do. Maybe not the most, I don't know. It's one of the narcissistic things that I do because I am, in fact, a narcissist. Hang on, let me think for a second, okay? Sorry if this is truly, like, actually insanely unedited. And sorry editing me, because even if it's unedited, I can't help but go through all this in 2 times speed. Or, like, I might just listen to this whole damn thing, and it's gonna be like an hour long, which is kind of cool. This was supposed to be a podcast initially, so here's the podcast. And not even a drawing to go with it. That's kind of sad. Maybe I draw a cute little umbrella to insert at the end of the video. You know, could do that in like a couple minutes and it'll be fun and interesting. So just sit here in silence while I think, you know, which is what happens in Twitch VODs, and that Twitch VOD got 600 something views, even though it was people clicking on it and then clicking off immediately, but it did get views. And I'll take a bite of hamburger helper, because it's going to be cold by the time I start eating it if I'm yapping for this long. This is wet-ass hamburger helper. And that's a podcast for you. Actually, I don't think people typically eat on podcasts. But that's fine. I'm not like other girls, as they say. I actually have no clue what I was talking about, and I'm just going to keep yapping because that kind of helps me think of stuff. I was talking about having infinite money, giving it to Fortnite. Yes. This is an interesting mindset to have, not being a narcissist. I'm going to be rich and famous one day. And it truly, I know that saying that almost objectively means you're a narcissist, you're like some arrogant asshole, you know, all these different things. But it's truly, I'm just looking at things objectively and realistically. And I was gonna say a certain amount of time, but I've already decided that I'm gonna be a YouTuber. And over the course of a life, literally, if I'm doing this my entire life, until I'm 99 years old, and I continue to create art, you know? Because this is an interesting thing, gamers, that I don't think I considered until this very moment, but I am, in fact, an artist, you know? And sometimes I'm yapping and being an idiot, and then my art is like editing and making stupid videos. But sometimes gamers, very rarely, it's like sound design and in lore. You know, the lore is a big part of being rich and famous as well. And also in some other third thing or whatever. But yeah, all these different things stack up. Oh, I was talking about art. Yeah. And I draw things, and I am gonna make a game potentially soon. Not soon, but I'm working on it, one might say. I have worked on it in the past, like, a week or two. All these things add up. This just, like, makes sense. If these are, like, the variables, the fact that I'm gonna be doing this for years, and the fact that it is gonna be art. You know, there is meaning behind a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna be making. These different variables within an equation just equal something, at the very least, you know? As I said, I don't know how rich and famous I'm going to be, but I can't not find a community over that course of time. And so maybe, I don't know, it's an interesting thing to be saying, the fact that I'm going to be rich and famous. And it's truly just me being a realist and me being very logical and all these different things. I was a gifted kid, if you will. So that sucks for me, but maybe that put things into perspective for you. You know, that's why I'm a narcissist. That's why I'm being an asshole. So I will be rich and famous. And I just keep saying the same shit. But basically, I wanted to say that this is an interesting mindset to have because of all the different aspects that I'm sort of applying that mindset to. Because I don't really care about not getting views on YouTube because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be rich and famous. Or if there's no one showing up to live streams because I'm like, oh. And this one might actually be delusional if when I'm 99 years old, I just have this small little community of people. But I'm like, oh, if I actually blow up and become super rich and famous, first of all, it's just going to be because I'm copying Markiplier every chance I get. But also, it's going to be because, never mind that. It's going to be because of that. But it's, fuck. What was I even saying, dude? I hate myself. Hang on, I'm literally pausing the recording. Yeah, so if I become rich and famous, what is wrong with me? People are in fact going to want to go back into those archives and watch the VODs. So that's why I'm not just sitting there like in complete silence or just being like, I'm playing a game. Whoa, look, that thing was kind of cool. You know, I'm not like treating it like a live streamer necessarily, and that might just be because my definitely not ADHD having brain just sort of is screaming at me, and my YouTuber brain, I guess, is screaming at me to say something, to be entertaining and whatnot. Mayhaps I'm just an entertainer, which is an interesting thing to think about, but that's a topic for another episode. Mayhaps one that isn't an hour long and boring and not good. But I don't want to neglect the VOD watcher, as I call them. If people are absolutely in love with me, like I am, because I'm a narcissist, then they're going to want to go back and watch all these different things, and I don't want it to be boring for them, even though this episode of this podcast is boring. But, you know, I just want to make content, put content of me out there, and yap and go on tangents about behind the scenes and the minutia of content creation and stuff like that. Even though maybe that's actually making it worse for them because it's, if every single Twitch VOD was super boring and not fun to watch, they're not fun to watch, but they're tolerable, I guess. If they were significantly less tolerable and they were boring, then people could just write them off as something they don't need to watch, you know? It's just hours of content that was uploaded to YouTube that just exists there now, you know? In the data centers. Shout out data centers. Yeah, this was all to say I don't care when there's no one watching currently because I know there will be an audience. Which is confusing for my brain. I don't know if this is confusing for anyone else because I'm always talking about building a community versus chasing an audience, which is I used to say building a community versus building an audience because that's the title of a video essay that I have written down and I wrote it like 2 years ago, but I just haven't made it. Um, because but that's the title of that. It used to be, but then I was like, oh, building an audience versus chasing, or building a community versus chasing an audience is such a better title, and I just like that more. I think it conveys the point more. And so that's going to be the new title. And that's actually um that's a recent discovery. That's like within the past few Twitch VODs, which is how I measure time now apparently. Um is when I sort of was yapping about that. And you can actually go back and click on that VOD because it was the one where I was talking, lots of people were appearing. What was I doing? I honestly don't know. Oh wait, it was literally the game dev VOD because someone came in who was in fact a game dev and I was yapping to them about YouTube and lore and whatnot. And I think I scared them away or they realized that I'm actually a narcissist or an asshole or something and then they left because I guess kind of it ended in a semi-reasonable place, so maybe they don't think I'm an evil person, or maybe they just had stuff to do. I guess I was yapping for a hot minute, and I'm a bit of an outlier on Twitch. I guess maybe not because there's probably so many live streamers that you can find people doing all sorts of stuff on that app, but sometimes I feel like I don't belong there because of my YouTuber brain and because I'm always yapping and saying stupid bullshit all the time. And my brain's going a million miles a minute and stuff like that. So maybe people click on my live stream because they're on Twitch and they're looking for a live stream to watch and they come across me and I'm just constantly yapping. I'm socially inept. I don't know how to interact with chat, stuff like that. So it's somewhat a one-sided thing. It's like a what would be I was gonna say half-sided thing and then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know, but it's mostly one-sided, but occasionally when someone says something in chat, I'll like read it out loud and kind of respond to it, but then I don't know how to I was gonna say coerce viewers. First of all, don't pause there, me, but sure, this is the word I'm using. I don't know how to coerce viewers into chatting more because I know that lots of people who are good at live streaming, they'll read someone's chat aloud and someone's like, hey, how are you, I guess? People say that a lot. And streamers would be like, hey, how are you? This person, welcome in. And there's like all these different things they say and then they'll ask them a question. They'll be like, hey, how are you? Or how'd you find me? I can't do that shit where it's like something separate entirely where you're like, how did you come across this stream or something like that. There's either watermarks or some other weird thing on my phone screen or I fully just spat on my phone screen a little bit. Not actually, there's like one single drop kind of and now it's gone. But maybe low-key we just need to end this because lots of boring stuff, slightly interesting maybe toward the end. Well, I think I kind of think that a lot of the time, but sometimes I say interesting stuff. And I just said so much stuff, and that kind of always happens. And I guess that is going to happen over the course of an hour, if I'm yapping. Hopefully you can hear it past all the rushing cars. Hopefully I did actually say a couple interesting things. And hopefully you subscribe. Shout out, I need to stop saying shout out everything. But yes, epic YouTuber moments. This was the first actual podcast. And we might be getting into that more recently because even the just random little yapping videos where I'm just doing this, pacing around my room, not like walking around town. But usually, hang on, what am I saying? Usually, I actually wasn't saying anything. Hang on, because I wasn't saying usually something. I was saying that, dude, what is happening right now? My brain is shutting off. Low-key, I've been awake for a while, so I might just be tired. Or I should probably actually eat my hamburger helper and consume water and things like that. And consume soda. I was gonna drink a soda. Love me some soda. Shout out being American. I don't know what I was saying. Look, we can get this point of view of stuff and things. Except not when it gets up to my phone. But this is what I look like, gamers. These are my little legs. And there's something about the camera that actually my legs look kind of small. Maybe I'm just a short king, if you will. And literally I am, but it doesn't make sense that I am because I am tall, like in my family, and I'm like too damn tall even. Like when I'm washing my face, I'm like out my back, stuff like that, counters and things. Don't need to be that low to the ground. I'm only 5'9". And I enjoy being 5'9", okay? So I'm not a short king in my heart, you know? I could be a short king in your heart if you want. If you're like 6 feet tall and you're like, wow, he's so cute and adorable, you can think that if you want, but I don't really care either way. And let me try my absolute hardest to think of what I was saying, even though I was actually outroing the pod. Because I was saying, I think I've lost it. There's not even a semblance of it. A little bit ago, I was actually thinking, oh, wait. Was I just talking about pacing around my room? No, I was saying usually, because I was saying usually I'm not out in the great outdoors. Or maybe I already said that, but basically, usually I'm not doing that. I got a few ideas for some cool drawing stuff we gotta do. And I was looking at a little Google Doc that I usually have of stuff I need to be talking about during the pod, or ideas for the podcast and stuff like that. And I was reminded of a really cool drawing that I need to do for an album that I absolutely love. Vicious Delicious by Love Cat. My favorite song on that album is Matador. And I was like, oh, there's such a cool visual in my brain that sort of corresponds to this song a little bit. So I'm going to be drawing that little visual, you know, converting it from a really cool image to my brain to a mediocre little piece of sketchness. Because I'm gonna draw it out in my little sketchbook. I think there's a hair in my mouth. And it's gonna be cool, okay? Stuff's gonna be cool. So if you have some extra time and you like my voice, that's something I've been considering recently. So that is interesting. And I might talk about that in a future episode. But yeah, if you like my voice, stuff like that, literally like and subscribe. If you made it this far, low-key you're obligated to. Usually I'm telling people you're not obligated to watch my videos, to like, to do stuff, but I do really appreciate it. However, this is so boring and so long that you need to like and subscribe and comment if you made it this far. And oh, that's weird that I say that, because I just remembered that the outro usually, like, I'll usually end the pod and cut it off and it'll be funny. I'll say leave a comment, I suppose.